Hello friends, I am introducing you our project, Starry Night, Visualizing Astrology Imagery in Tang Poetry. In the first chapter, we will focus on the development of astrology theory in traditional Chinese history and the extent to which astrology imagery is utilized in Tang poetry. During the exploration by ancient people, astrology gradually formed complete theories, and the Sanyuan, Xixiang, Wuxing, and Ershabasio is the most mainstream one. Simultaneously, ancient people explored the connections between astrology and other domains, like 5 elements, solar terms and animals, generate new insights to guide production, life, and the development of culture. You can click on the labels of constellations and dimensions to see specific content. At the same time, ancient humans created different alias for different constellations, bringing unique rhythms in literature and enriching the cultural connotations of astronomy. The figure shows the number and content of aliases for each constellations. Some are adapted from official names, some have metaphorical meanings, and some are transplanted from the name of existing things on Earth. Tang poets used a variety of aliases in their poems to depict things and stories under the starry sky, and some aliases are used very frequently, like Ziwei, Taibai, and Beidou. We also organized the scattered word clouds in order, classified by constellations, creating a poetic night sky where the brightness differences of each star vary significantly. Some stars and aliases are particularly bright, indicating Tang poets' preference for certain stars. Some are closely connected to feudal politics, some praise amazing love stories, and some are related to metaphysics and mythical stories. In Chapter 2, we delve into the specific ways astrology is employed in Tang poetry. In literature, natural elements often serve as symbols to convey emotions, and stars in Tang poetry have their unique expressions. In terms of the role of constellations in poems, aside from being an element itself, stars, due to their characteristics like brightness and eternity, can be metaphors. They can also directly be the theme of poems to express aspirations, or symbolizing earthly matters, for example, being an alias of a horse. The chart illustrates the proportions of the roles and the prevalence of different constellations in roles. When we talk about the theme of poems, the use of each constellation varies too. Astrology is heavily employed in poems expressing aspirations and ambitions, as well as in historical and philosophical themes. We have listed the top 5 constellations most frequently used in each theme, which reveal specific celestial preferences. For example, Liuxiu is often used in farewell themes, and Niuxiu with Vexu are often used in poems about love and pining. Poets reflect their inner worlds through astrology and poems. Their subjective choices of constellations and the emotions are influenced by preferences and personality traits, shaping diverse poetic styles. We coded the emotion of the poem and connected them to see the relationship between the stars and the emotion they expressed. We also selected the 20 poets with the highest number of astrological poems and counted the constellations they preferred to write about. Click on poets or stars or emotions to see how they relate to each other and the corresponding number of poems. In Chapter 3, we selected representative poets and their notable poems for visualization coding. The poets' preferences for different constellations directly reflect their personalities, aspirations, and feelings. Through the poet's choice of stars, we can intuitively feel the distinct personalities of the poets and their attitudes towards life. We selected 4 typical Tang poets who exhibited clear preferences for specific constellations, and for each poet, we selected a representative poem and visually encoded it. Examining how astronomy were used to express the poet's emotions. The first poet is Jiang. His use of astronomy in a diverse way, which reflects the official trend in the understanding of stars at that time. The second poet is Li Bai, the most famous romantic poet of the Tang dynasty. His alias is associated with Jingxin, and he is said to be an incarnation of it. His use of astronomy barely highlights a connection to politics, but with a greater emphasis on his essential romantic and poetic temperament. The third poet is Bai Juyi, who frequently incorporates Ziwei constellation, which symbolizing imperial authority, reflecting his political aspirations and ideals. The fourth poet is Du Fu, who often used Beidou in his poems, expressing profound love for the monarch and the country. In addition to these 4 stars, we have visually encoded around 2,400 poems, creating a poetic starry sky. You can click the button below and explore it freely. In this sky, we showcase around 2,400 poems that related to astronomy, and make stars of each poem that express their characteristics. Readers can set filtering criteria, such as the name of constellation, themes of poems, authors, emotions, etc., to select their interested poems. After selecting a specific poem star, the panel on the right displays detailed visual encoding, different dimensional values, and the full text of the poem. This allows an understanding of the content of the poems and have an exploration of the dimensions to appreciate the emotions and imagery the poets intended to convey. Through reading and exploring the whole website, we recognize the significant role of astronomy in Tang poetry, which is rich in metaphors and cultural connotations. For a deeper understanding of this story, you can view our website in person. Additionally, you can use Google Translate to translate our text content, but only as a reference and we cannot guarantee translation accuracy.